You probably know the feeling all too well. The alarm goes off and your first thought isn't about the day ahead, it's about the stiffness. You lie there for a moment, bracing for it. Your knees feel like they've rusted overnight. Your fingers struggle to curl into a fist. Your hips and your lower back send a sharp, aching protest as you just swing your legs out of bed. That first step onto the floor, it isn't a step, it's a negotiation with pain. That's not just getting older. That is the daily reality of arthritis, and it hits hardest in the morning. For millions, it's a cruel way to start the day, stealing your mobility and your optimism before you've even had a chance to be awake. Welcome to Healthier Daily. I'm Dr. Ben Carter, and it's our mission to dive deep into the science behind why this happens, and more importantly, what we can do about it. To help us understand this profound connection between our joints and our mornings, we are honored to be guided by our lead expert, Dr. Shigeaki Hinohara.
Thank you, Ben. It is a vital topic. That rusted feeling is precisely what my patients describe, and their greatest fear is that it is permanent. They come to me and say, "My body is broken. This part is worn out." They believe the machine is damaged beyond repair. But I want to offer you a new and more accurate perspective this morning. Your body is not broken. It is simply a very fine, sophisticated engine that has been left sitting cold in the dark all night long. Think about it. What happens to a high-performance engine when it's left in the cold? The vital fluids thicken. The lubricating oil becomes like cold honey. The small particles and sediments in the system, which are usually in motion, settle to the bottom, creating sludge. This is exactly what happens inside your joints. The oil, your synovial fluid, thickens and becomes viscous. The sludge inflammatory cytokines settles and concentrates in the joint space while you are still. That morning, pain is not a sign of a broken part. It's the sign of a cold, sludgy, unprepped engine.
That is a perfect and incredibly hopeful analogy, Doctor. And it leads us to the single biggest mistake most people make every single day. They ignore this signal. They force that cold, sludgy engine to go from 0 to 60. They grab a cup of coffee, maybe a pain pill, and they just push through the day, fighting the stiffness and the pain until it finally eases up hours later. They are missing the one moment the body is actually asking for and is most responsive to help. Because here is something most doctors never tell you. The first 30 minutes after you wake up are the golden window. That is the most powerful opportunity you have to change the entire course of your day's pain. That's when your body's most ready to be rehydrated. That's when that inflammatory sludge is most concentrated and easiest to flush. That's when one simple, intelligent action can change everything.
You would never start a prized car in the freezing cold by immediately revving the engine to its limit. That is how you cause permanent damage. You would perform a gentle step-by-step ignition sequence. You would check the coolant. You would warm the fluids. You would let the system clear itself. We must treat our bodies with this same profound mechanical wisdom.
And that is our promise to you today. This is a masterclass. We are not just giving you another list of drinks. We are going to guide you step by step through the official 3-step ignition sequence for your body. This is a morning ritual designed to use that 30-minute golden window to do 3 specific jobs. First, to perform a coolant flush and rehydrate the system. Second, to purge the inflammatory sludge. And third, to add a high-grade lubricant before you demand your joints perform. If you are tired of waking up every morning in a body that feels rusted and stuck, and you are ready to learn the sequence to start your day with smooth, fluid motion, I want you to make a commitment right now. Go to the comments section below and type the word ignition. It's a declaration that you are ready to take back control of your mornings. And while you are there, if you haven't already, please subscribe to Healthier Daily and ring the notification bell. Your first lesson in this 3-step ignition sequence starts right now.
A wise engineer, before even thinking of turning the key in a cold engine, does one thing. They open the hood and they check the fluids. They check the coolant. To start a dry engine, to demand it perform at high speed, is to guarantee its destruction. The friction of metal on metal without lubrication would tear the machine apart in seconds. This is the fundamental mistake we make with our bodies every single morning. We demand that our joints, which after a long night are dry, thick with sludgy fluid and cold, to immediately perform the miracle of lifting us, supporting us, and carrying us. And then we are shocked when they protest in pain. The very first step in our 30-minute golden window is not about fighting pain. It is about replenishing the sacred fluid of life. It is the coolant flush.
Dr. Hinohara's analogy is biologically perfect. Let's look at the 2 structures inside your body that are screaming for fluid after 8 hours of sleep. First and most importantly is your cartilage. We think of cartilage as a solid rubbery cushion, but it is not. That smooth pearly white cap on the end of your bones is a living tissue that is 70 to 80% water. It's much more accurate to think of your cartilage as a high-density living sponge. During the day as you walk and move, that sponge is rhythmically squeezed and released, pulling in fresh fluid and nutrients and expelling waste. This is what keeps it healthy. But at night when you are still, this pumping action stops. The sponge slowly dehydrates. Waking up and putting weight on dry, dehydrated cartilage is exactly like rubbing 2 pieces of dry styrofoam together. It's gritty, it creates friction, and it sends a sharp signal of pain. Second, and just as critical, is your synovial fluid. This is the engine oil for the joint. It's a thick, viscous fluid that lubricates the entire joint capsule, allowing the 2 cartilage surfaces to glide over each other with 0 friction. When you are warm and moving, this fluid is thin, slick, and slippery, just like a high-performance oil. But when you are still and your body temperature drops slightly during sleep, its viscosity changes dramatically. It becomes thick, sticky, and sludgy like honey or molasses left in a cold car. That rusted and stuck feeling in your knees is the very real resistance of your muscles trying to move a joint that is filled with cold, thick, sticky gel. So our first job is non-negotiable. We must rehydrate the sponge and thin out the gel. And for this coolant flush, our tool is not just plain water, though plain water is good. We want to enhance the hydration with specific therapeutic compounds. This brings us to our first morning drink, cucumber and mint-infused water. This is not a spa trend. It is a targeted biological tool. The cucumber is not in there for flavor. It is one of the richest known sources of a trace mineral called silica. Silica is a foundational building block for your body's entire structural matrix. It is essential for the creation of healthy connective tissue, specifically collagen, and elastin, the very protein fibers that make up your cartilage sponge. So as you rehydrate, you are simultaneously delivering the exact raw material your body needs to repair the sponge itself. And the mint. The mint is far more than a simple garnish. It contains a powerful polyphenol called rosmarinic acid. This compound is a well-studied anti-inflammatory, but it also provides a gentle natural analgesic or pain-relieving effect. It helps to soothe the irritated nerve endings in the joint capsule while the deep rehydration is taking place. The best part is that you do this the night before. You are setting your future self up for success. Before you go to bed, take half a cucumber, slice it thin, and drop it into a large pitcher of water. Add a handful of fresh mint leaves. It helps to crush them slightly in your hand first. Let it steep in the refrigerator overnight. The moment you wake up, before the coffee, before your shower, before anything else, drink a tall 16-ounce, that's about 475 milliliters, glass of this cool infused water. You are in effect sending the first wave of healing coolant, repair materials, and gentle painkillers to your joints before you even ask them to bear your weight.
I am reminded of a patient, Nancy, a 70-year-old woman who loved her garden. But the stiffness in her knees had stolen that joy. The first few steps from her bed to the back door were, as she said, a walk of 1,000 grinding miles. She was skeptical. "Water?" she asked me. "Doctor, I drink water." But I explained to her, this is not just drinking. This is a ritual. It is the first act of the day. It is a signal of profound kindness to your body. She agreed to try. About 5 days later, she told me something fascinating. She said, the pain isn't gone, not completely. But the feeling is different. I asked her to explain. She paused and then said, before it felt like two stones rubbing together. Now, it just feels smoother. It feels fluid. She had thinned out the sludge and hydrated the sponge. She was feeling the engine oil warm up. That, for her, was the beginning of everything. The coolant levels are now stable. The engine is hydrated. But a wise engineer would never turn the key just yet. They know that overnight something else has happened. All the microscopic debris, the grit, and the old burnt inflammatory fluid, it has all used the stillness of the night to settle. It has formed a thick, abrasive sludge at the very bottom of the engine's most sensitive parts. To start the engine now would be to grind that sludge directly into the gears, causing deep scouring pain and further damage. The coolant flush was step 1. Step 2 in our 30-minute golden window is to purge the sludge.
That sludge is the most accurate description for what is happening inside your joints. This sludge is a concentrated toxic soup of inflammatory proteins. Its main components are called cytokines. These are the chemical alarm bells of your immune system. In an arthritic joint, these alarm bells are ringing 24/7. Now, during the day, while you are walking, moving, and contracting your muscles, you are constantly pumping this inflammatory fluid out of your joints and through your body's brilliant sanitation network. This is your lymphatic system. This is one of the most critical pieces of information we can share with you today. Your cardiovascular system, your blood, has a powerful nonstop pump, your heart. Your lymphatic system does not. It is an almost entirely passive system. It relies on the simple mechanical contraction and relaxation of your muscles to move its fluid and take out the trash. So what happens when you lie perfectly still for 8 hours while you sleep? The lymphatic pump stops. The system stagnates. All of those heavy inflammatory cytokines, which are being produced constantly in the joint, stop circulating. They obey the law of gravity. They settle and they concentrate, forming that thick, irritating sludge that pools in the lowest points of your joint capsules. That grinding, searing pain you feel on your first step, that is your joint for the first time in hours moving against a stagnant swamp of inflammatory grit.
So, Our task in this golden window is clear. We must send in a powerful natural solvent, something that can help emulsify this thick sludge and support the body's own filtration systems in flushing it out before we demand the machine to run. For this, we turn to an ancient humble seed. It is not a modern flashy invention. It is a tool that has been used for centuries in traditional Ayurvedic and Middle Eastern medicine precisely for this purpose, to cleanse and to purify. We are talking about fenugreek seeds or methi seeds. Their wisdom lies in their ability to support the body's own built-in purging mechanisms.
This is not a magic cure. This is targeted biological support. The fenugreek water you drink on an empty stomach doesn't just go to your joints. It goes to your body's master filtration plant, your liver. The liver is the organ that has to process all of this inflammatory sludge once it's dumped into your system. Fenugreek is loaded with powerful compounds called saponins and flavonoids. These compounds are scientifically shown to support both phase 1 and phase 2 liver detoxification pathways. Think of them as helpers that give your liver the tools it needs to neutralize and prepare this toxic sludge for elimination before it can be recirculated and cause more problems. Furthermore, those saponins, the word itself comes from soap, are believed to act as a natural detergent in your gut and bloodstream. They help to emulsify and break down the thick, sticky nature of these inflammatory proteins, making them less gritty and easier for your newly awakened lymphatic system to handle. You are in effect pre-treating the sludge so it can be flushed out cleanly.
The power of this cleansing is often most noticeable in the smallest, most intricate parts of the machine. I remember a patient, Harold, a 68-year-old retired watchmaker. His knees were stiff, yes, but his greatest frustration was with his hands, his finger joints. He told me, "Doctor, I can't even button my shirt without wincing. It feels like there is fine sand grinding in the gears." The small gears of his fingers were completely clogged with this inflammatory sludge. He was a very pragmatic man. He liked the engine metaphor. He started the 3-step sequence, but it was the fenugreek water, the sludge purge, that he felt made the biggest difference for his hands. After 2 weeks, he came back and held up his hands for me to see. He made a fist slowly, then opened it. No wincing. He said, "The sand is gone, doctor. The gears finally feel clean."
And this, too, is a ritual you prepare the night before. It is incredibly simple. Take 1 teaspoon, just one, of whole fenugreek seeds. Place them in a standard 8-ounce or 240 milliliter glass of water. Cover it and let it sit on your counter overnight. In the morning, after you have finished your large 16-ounce glass of cucumber mint water, you drink this as your second step. The seeds themselves will be soft. You can choose to chew them for their excellent fiber content, or you can strain them and just drink the water. A quick note on the taste: it is not unpleasant, but it is unique. It is mild, slightly bitter, and very earthy. Many people like Harold grow to find it very grounding and cleansing. And one very important medical consideration: fenugreek has been shown to help regulate blood sugar. This is a wonderful benefit for most, but if you are currently on diabetic medication, please speak with your doctor first, as this is a powerful and effective natural tool. This is step 2. You have flushed the coolant and you have purged the sludge.
The engine is now cool and hydrated. The abrasive sludge has been purged. We have reached the final and most profound step in our 30-minute golden window. This is the moment that defines the rest of your day. This is when we add the high-grade protective lubricant and the raw repair materials to the system. A wise engineer knows that a clean, cold engine is still vulnerable. To start it now and immediately put it under the load of a long journey would be careless. First, you must add the special additives that protect the metal from friction, and you must top off the supplies for the internal repair shop. This final step is not about just starting the machine. It is about preparing it to run beautifully all day long.
This is quite frankly my favorite part of the sequence because the science is so elegant. This is where we combine two powerful actions, anti-inflammation and physical repair, into one simple warming drink. This is our third and final tool, warm lemon water with turmeric and black pepper. Let's break down this two-part solution. First, let's talk about the high-grade lubricant. This is the turmeric. The grinding, aching, and stiffness you feel is the physical sensation of inflammation. Deep inside your joints, there is an enzyme called COX-2. You can think of this enzyme as the inflammation switch. When it's turned on, it floods your joints with compounds that create pain, swelling, and stiffness. Many over-the-counter pain medications work by chemically blocking this COX-2 switch. Well, nature has its own, much gentler solution. The active compound in turmeric, curcumin, is a powerful natural COX-2 inhibitor. It doesn't just mask the pain, it goes to the source and helps to dim the very switch that is creating the pain and inflammation in the first place. It is a true high-performance anti-inflammatory lubricant, but there is one famous problem. Curcumin is notoriously difficult for the body to absorb. It's a large, sticky molecule that your digestive system struggles to let pass into the bloodstream. And that is where our tiny hero black pepper comes in. Black pepper contains a compound called piperine. Think of piperine as the master key or the activation code that unlocks the gateways in your gut, allowing the curcumin to flood into your system. Studies have shown that a tiny pinch of black pepper can increase the absorption of curcumin by up to 2,000%. Without it, the lubricant never makes it into the engine. So we've added our lubricant, which stops the friction and the damage. Now we must deliver the repair materials. This is the lemon. The cushioning at the end of your bones, your cartilage, is a living matrix made almost entirely of a specific protein, collagen. Arthritis is at its core, the slow-motion breakdown of this precious collagen scaffolding. Your body has a team of dedicated repair cells called fibroblasts that are on call 24/7, ready to weave and repair this collagen matrix. But they cannot do their job if they don't have the one single non-negotiable ingredient they need to spin that new collagen. That ingredient is vitamin C. Vitamin C is a mandatory cofactor for collagen synthesis. Without it, the repair shop shuts down. The lemon juice provides this essential vitamin C, giving your repair crew the raw materials they need to get to work, rebuilding the joints, padding for the day ahead.
This brings me to the story of Evelyn, a 72-year-old woman who had struggled for years with a deep, aching pain in her hips. The first few minutes of her day, she said, were a test of her will. When we introduced this 3-step sequence, it was this final warm drink that changed everything for her, but not for the reason you might think. Yes, her stiffness began to improve, but she told me the real magic was in the ritual itself. She said that preparing this warm, golden drink in the quiet of the new morning, holding the warm mug in her hands before the world was awake, it was the first time in years she felt she was doing something truly kind for her body. She stopped seeing her mornings as a curse and started to see them as a private 30-minute ceremony of self-care. That psychological shift, that decision to be kind to her own machine, was as powerful as the curcumin itself. She wasn't just fighting pain anymore, she was cultivating healing.
And you can start this ritual tomorrow. Here is the simple preparation. After your first 2 drinks, gently warm 1 cup of water. It is very important that it is warm, not boiling, as boiling water can destroy some of the delicate compounds. Pour the warm water into a mug. Squeeze in the juice of half a lemon. Stir in 1/4 to 1/2 of a teaspoon of high-quality turmeric powder. And finally, add a small pinch, that's all it takes, of finely ground black pepper. Stir it well and sip it slowly. Let that warmth soak into your body. You are lubricating and repairing your joints from the inside out. It is a truly beautiful thing to combine ancient wisdom with modern science. And it is just as beautiful to see our community from all over the world coming together to learn and to heal. It gives Dr. Hinohara and me so much hope. Please take a moment to share which state or country you are watching from in the comments below. It is a wonderful thing to see this ignition sequence being started all across the globe.
We have now given you the 3 steps of the sequence: the coolant flush, the sludge purge, the lubrication and repair. But I must be very clear about something. These are not 3 separate optional recipes to try. They are one unified ritual. This is the heart of the philosophy. You cannot just purge the sludge but forget the coolant. You cannot just add lubricant to a dirty cold engine. The power of this protocol is found in its sequence. It is about honoring the mechanical needs of your body in the correct order. It is about transforming your first 30 minutes from a chaotic, painful battle into a sacred, mindful act of preparation. This ritual is the bridge from a cold, stiff sleeping machine to a warm, fluid, ready-to-live body.
Now I know exactly what many of you are thinking, because I've had this conversation with my own patients. You're thinking, Dr. Carter, I can barely move in the morning from stiffness. You want me to go into the kitchen and perform a 3-step chemical experiment while I'm in pain? It is a fair question. And the answer is no. That is not what we are asking. The true secret to making this ritual effortless, the master key to making this habit stick, is this. The work is not done in the morning. The work is done the night before. Success in your 30-minute golden window is determined by your 5-minute preparation ritual before you go to bed. This is how you set your future self up for a victory. Here is your new nightly habit. First, go to your refrigerator. Take out your pitcher, slice your cucumber, add your mint, and fill it with water. Place it on the top shelf where you will see it. Step 1 is now 100% ready. Second, take your glass and your single teaspoon of fenugreek seeds. Fill the glass with water, cover it, and place it on your kitchen counter right where you will see it. Step 2 is now 100% ready. Third, take your favorite mug, set it on the counter right next to your kettle or water source. Next to that mug, place your cutting board, a knife, your container of turmeric, and your pepper grinder. Step 3 is now 90% ready. You see, when you wake up in that stiff, groggy, vulnerable state, you do not have to think. You do not have to make decisions. You do not have to search for ingredients. You only have to act. You walk to the fridge, you pour, you drink. You walk to the counter, you drink. You warm the water, you stir, and you sip. You have removed all friction from the process. The second key is to anchor this new ritual to a habit you already have. For millions, that habit is coffee. So here is the new rule. I will not have my first sip of coffee until I have completed my 3-step ignition sequence. This is not a punishment. This is a trade. You are trading 15 minutes of mindfulness for an entire day of reduced pain. Your morning coffee, which you already crave, now becomes the reward for honoring your joints. This is how you build a habit that lasts a lifetime. Dr. Shigeki Hinohara. And my final piece of advice on this journey is to practice the virtue of patience. You are a kind engineer, not a demanding boss. An engine that has been grinding and rusting for 10, 20, or 30 years will not become perfectly silent and smooth in one morning. This is not a pill. This is a process.
Do not look for a sudden miracle. Look for the small, beautiful victories. Look for that morning, maybe a week from now, when you make it to the kitchen and realize it didn't hurt as much. Look for the moment you bend down to tie your shoe and you do it with ease. Look for the absence of that grinding feeling. These are the signals that the machine is healing. Be a patient engineer. The results will come not as a thunderclap, but as a quiet, gradual, and beautiful dawn of new mobility. Your morning does not have to be a curse. For so long you have woken up, and that first painful ache has been a signal of fear, of resignation. But you have learned the truth. That feeling is not an end. It is a beginning. It is a signal for mindful, loving action. This ignition sequence is more than a habit. It is a ceremony. It is the moment you reclaim your body. When you perform this ritual, you are not just fighting inflammation. You are making a profound declaration. You are telling your body, I am on your side. You are telling the day, I am in control. You're moving from that state of being rusted to a state of being ready.
Ready is the key word, and the science shows exactly why this works. This morning ignition sequence is your single most powerful daily strategy for arthritis stiffness relief. It is the non-negotiable key to improving your morning joint mobility and supporting your long-term synovial fluid health. By focusing on these steps in this order, you are actively promoting natural collagen repair in your cartilage and ensuring your long-term joint integrity for decades to come. If this masterclass on how to reclaim your mornings has provided you with value and a new sense of hope, please show your support for our channel by giving this video a like. And please share it with a loved one who you know is tired of starting their day in pain. It could truly change their entire relationship with their body. And if you haven't already, we would be so honored if you would subscribe to Healthier Daily and ring that notification bell. We are committed to being your trusted partners on this journey to a more mobile and vibrant life every single day. Finally, we have one last and very important question for you. If you could wake up tomorrow and for the first time in years feel completely free of that morning stiffness, what is the first joyful activity you would do with that newfound freedom? Would you get on the floor to play with a grandchild? Would you take a long walk at sunrise? Would you simply get out of bed with a smile? Please share your answer in the comments below. Your why could be the very inspiration that someone else needs to start their own journey.
From all of us at Healthier Daily, thank you for your time. We wish you a smooth and powerful start to all your days to come.